Hello. Today I am going to talk about heap sort. This is an important concept to computer scientists, especially when studying algorithms. What exactly is heap sort? Well, heap sort is an algorithm or a process that can sort an array of numbers in order. That is why it's called a sort. It's a sorting algorithm. However, what makes heap sort special is that the array must first be formatted as a heap. And also, this algorithm is more efficient generally than some of the more common sorting algorithms. What is a heap? A heap stores data in a complete binary tree, such that all the children of a parent is either less than or greater than itself. What this means is that if you're going down the tree, it would look like all the numbers are increasing as you go down, or all the numbers are decreasing as you go down. What is a binary tree? Well, a binary tree is a tree such that every node has at most 2 children from it. A complete binary tree is such a tree that the left and right sides of each node are balanced as much as possible. What is a tree? What is an array? Okay, if you don't know these things yet, you really shouldn't be watching this video yet. You should go and review these terms and come back later. Moving along. This is the important information you will need for a heap sort. You can see here on the left, we have some algorithms made for us. These look like functions that you might have in a programming language. The top one is called Heapsort. This is the main method that you would use, and it takes an array A and it starts doing things with it. The first thing it does is build heap, which is down below it, and that takes the array and it formats it such that it looks like a heap. And after that, it starts going through a for loop, going through each part of the array individually, and swapping it. It either swaps elements around, or it calls upon heapify, which is near the bottom of the left. And swap is not defined here, but it's an obvious function that you would swap the two elements defined passed through in the array. And heapify, well, it's kind of confusing what heapify exactly does, but it does a lot of switching around such that you can tell exactly which elements you have to swap. If you look here on the right, you see a very simple example of a heap in a tree format, which we will use today. And below it, we have an array A, which is already sorted as a heap for us. If you look at how this heap is made, you can create an array from a heap manually by starting at the top and going down each level and putting the numbers in from left to right on each level. So you would start at 5 at the top, then you would go down to 4, add 4, then you would keep going for that level to the right, you would add 3, and there's no more left, so you keep going down, you would add 1, once go right on that level, you would add 2, and that's how you would get that array. Alright, let's start the heap sort. Okay, you can see here I have the tree and the important algorithms on the side there for reference. When you are using heap sort, especially for the first time, it's confusing. You will have to trace the steps so that you can understand it better. If you make a single mistake somewhere, you will find that you will probably end up with an array at the end that is not sorted. And it's something that just requires practice. Okay, the first thing that heap sort requires is that you build the heap. Well, as I showed you, we already had the array in the heap format, so I'm not going to bother showing you all the steps that would require, because that would take time and space. Alright, after that you would go through the for loop, and you would first call swap with the elements in space 0 and space 4. And you swap the elements, it's simple enough. And then you call heapify with the spaces at 0 and 3. And if you follow through that, you will find that k will be set to 1, and then you will have to swap the elements at 0 and 1. Okay, then you will be asked to call heapify again, and you will swap the elements at 1 and 3. You will pass through the elements 1 and 3. The k will be set to 3, and then you will find that you can't do anything. You don't have to continue after that. So if you go back to the for loop in heap sort, you will swap the spots at 0 and 3, and you will swap them. Now notice that at this point, the array is sorted. However, you can't stop here because the algorithm is not complete. You have to follow through the entire for loop until it tells you until the algorithm ends. So let's continue. You call heapify with spots 0 and 2. K will be set to 2. Then you will have to call swap and swap the elements at 0 and 2. Then you will have to call heapify again with 2 and 2. And then you can't do anything, so you go back to heapsort in the for loop, and you call swap again with elements 0 and 2. Then you call heapify again with 0 and 1. And if you follow that, k will become equal to 1, and you'll have to swap the elements at 0 and 1. And then you'll have to call heapify again, pass in elements 1 and 2, and then you find you can't do anything, and so you'll go back to the for loop in the heap sort. Call swap again with 0 and 1, and then you will call heapify again at 0 and 0. And that is where you would end. I hope you followed through on that. It was confusing, but just try your best. And that's all there is to it. Yes, it was a little confusing, especially if you're doing it for the first time. But as we went through it, the array we started with 5, 4, 3, 1, and 2 was sorted into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the correct order. And the only advice I can give you is to practice this as much as you can. And it does get easier as you get the hang of it. If you practice it 3 or 4 or 5 times, it does take a while, but you will be able to memorize it, and hopefully you'll do fine in your future uses of it. Thank you for watching.